these are the pictures we have. Eric, just let's stay on these pictures. I mean, watching, the president-elect and the vice president-elect side by side, waving at these employees. By the way, many of whom don't know exactly whose jobs will be saved. It's just 1,000, which is awesome. I shouldn't say just 1,000. That's 1,000 families who don't have to move at all. What do you make of what we're watching?
Well, Donald Trump is the ultimate extrovert, right? We've seen him draw his energy from wading into crowds of his adoring supporters. He likes to war with media, but he really seems to enjoy this kind of thing. These are not necessarily Trump supporters. You just talked to one of them, but these are working class people who made up the core of Trump's support in Great Lakes states in the Midwest. And a lot of these are union members. Unions went for Trump, went much more for Trump than they have for Republican presidential nominees in the past. So these are really his people. He has clearly drawn energy from this sort of thing. This is what excites him. Look at the
workers taking pictures. Look at the workers with their cell phones taking photos of this major moment at their plant in Indianapolis.
This is rare. This is not the kind of thing. You don't see presidents intervene this way very often, or president-elects specifically. This is unusual. This is the kind of thing that mayors and governors typically do. And in fact, it was in part made possible because Mike Pence, for a little bit longer at least, is still the governor of Indiana. Remember, there are state tax incentives here that are in play, that are part of this deal. So it's not uncommon at all in red or blue states to see governors and mayors taking these kinds of tours with small press corps in tow. But it's really a lot more unusual to see a president intervene on this level. So yeah, for these people, this is a great deal. For the people in this factory right now, just ahead of the holiday season, they have reason for optimism about their jobs. Some are still, of course, going to Mexico, but others will be remaining in Indianapolis. And so no matter the broader implications, and Trump, of course, will soon have to roll out a national policy to address these sorts of things. In this one specific case, this is great news for these people.
David Gergen, I'm looking at you looking at these pictures.
Well, I don't think Donald Trump is the first president to visit factories. Barack Obama went all the time. And he went for a different purpose, usually to illustrate a model. Some breakthrough, some company of the future. But I think to go to Ryan Liz's point, the one thing this whole tableau does not address is the impact of automation, the impact of technology upon jobs, and the globalizations of these jobs. There's this sucking sound drawing jobs into Mexico, as Ross Perot used to say. And I think this is an important symbolic victory for him. We shouldn't mistake it to be an answer to the long-term problems of workers in these communities.
Again, I go back to we just want to provide all perspectives, and I go back to the Washington Post piece by Bernie Sanders, where he said Trump has endangered the jobs of workers who were previously safe in the U.S. Why? Because he signaled to every corporation in America that they can threaten to offshore jobs in exchange for business-friendly tax benefits and incentives. He referred to this as Trump's Band-Aid solution. Just one perspective.
Can I just take exception to that?
Yes, you can.
Donald Trump's response to that would be, it's not that I'm going to try to go out and save every corporation that's in this situation. Rather, my national policy is going to be to cut corporate taxes. And he has a dramatic proposal to cut corporate taxes, which are among the highest in the world here in America, from 35% to 15%. Even conservatives in Congress think maybe that's too big. And he hasn't outlined any plan to pay for it, as well as the individual tax cuts. But from his perspective, hey, look, that's going to cut your costs at a lot of the carriers around the country, so you won't have to go to Mexico.
Mm-hmm. What are you thinking? Because you were saying, Monica, talking about these jobs, just down the road, there's a plant shuttering. But the point being, this is worth celebrating. This is 1,000 jobs staying in the United States. Good on Donald Trump for making this happen. And you were saying, stop the bleeding.
You know what? This shouldn't be a political issue for Democrats or Republicans. Saving jobs and putting people back to work in America should be a common goal for everyone. And as one of the contributors said earlier, yeah, this is a huge problem, and we're not going to have a overwhelming solution, but taking a step in the right direction is a good thing. Stopping the bleeding is a good thing. $7 million to save 800 workers is about $87.50 per job. The state's going to collect that back in taxes in a year or two. I mean, these are steps that are positive, and I think it's a mistake to make it political because we're missing a bigger issue that we should all be together trying to support our industries.
Ryan Lizzo, what do you think? How can it not be political?
Well,
I'm sorry.
I guess I disagree with that in terms of course it's political, because the way in which our elected officials go about creating jobs, saving jobs, is at the core of the differences between the two parties. So inevitably, let's take for instance what Trump said on the campaign trail. He said his method for saving the jobs from Carrier would be to threaten a gigantic tariff on these furnaces if they were exported back into the United States. And he criticized Barack Obama's manufacturing plan, which was government incentives, government outlays. Now, of course, as the details of this deal become revealed, he went with the more Obama-like approach. He didn't. He didn't let the jobs go and threaten tariffs. He basically paid Carrier in the form of state tax incentives, or at least negotiated that deal. So that's a big debate between the parties, and Trump has sort of flipped his methodology in saving these jobs. So I agree, everyone's in favor of saving jobs, but the point that a lot of economists are making about the incentive that this creates for corporations in America, especially a huge multinational profitable company like United Technologies, that's important for us to dig in here and not just let as much as we want to celebrate 800 families keeping their jobs in this holiday.
Some counterpoint that he has failed to accomplish anything more broadly, because that's not the expectation at this point.
Okay, let me ask all of you to stick around. We want to sneak a quick break in. We are moments away from hearing the message as he's there in Indianapolis.